Hi, good morning. I'm going to read a little story to you that I've begun and see what you think. It's a little bit different than my normal fare. Maybe, I guess. It's called the Cul De Sac Witches. Every city and every town, no matter where in the world you are, has a haunted house somewhere in its history. Everyone who has lived there long enough has either heard the stories or embellished upon them. Some have driven by and seen things happen. Others have known someone who actually went in and never came out. The tales and stories are endless, no matter where the house is, how old it is, and who is telling the tale. After all, the urban legends have died down, and the stories of haunted houses has been one of the mainstays of history. So settle back and get some tea or coffee and relax, and let me tell you about Blight Manor. Blight Manor was built in 1849 on a property now called Highland Park. The house was torn down and the park built in 1978. But between 1849 and 1978, Blight Manor served as the town's haunted house for that 129 years. The main house was but a two-story. However, when the young Mrs. Blight saw it for the first time, she asked her husband to add another story to the house so that it stood out amongst the other houses in town. Wanting to please his much younger bride, he agreed, and rather than having another floor built on top of the already finished structure, he had the entire house lifted and built a huge first floor that contained a ballroom and a library. People in town thought this to be the machinations of a madman, but when the house was finished, they would proudly point to it to visitors as one of the most unique houses ever built. Owena Blight seemed from another world. Pale skin, dark curls, along with her amber-colored eyes, made many a man's head turn as she walked by on her way to church each Sunday. The women did not respond quite the same way, and many husbands had bruises to prove for the pokes they received from jealous wives. Bidwell Blight had come from England, and his wife was of Scottish descent. These were the only facts known about the couple that were actually true. They had no children as of yet, Bidwell himself at least 25 years his wife's senior. This made the younger men of town have a great time talking about how the old man must lay there like a log while his young wife rode him like a wild Mustang. Many a man wished it themselves Owena was riding, and though none would ever admit to it, one was. During the building of the first floor, one of the young carpenters had stumbled across Owena during one of her early morning walks by the river. He knew she took this walk each morning and had tried several times to follow her, only to lose her in the woods. But on one early Saturday morning, with the rest of the crew in the town asleep, he had followed Owena more closely and found her sitting in the crux of a large tree. She was quite naked, and her smile took over the poor carpenter's modesty and morals as he pulled her down to the ground and took her. She made no protest, only hummed a little tune so softly he could not make it out even if he had been listening, instead of thrusting himself into Owena's warm, wet honey hole, as he loved to call it when with the lads before this day. As he continued with what he thought was the best fucking this wench would ever have, Owena made no sound other than her humming. She responded physically and rhythmically to him, and when she was finished, she took his face in her hands and scraped her long, sharp nails down his cheeks. Then, pulling his face close, she licked the blood from his face. "You bitch," he cried as he spat out all over the side. "Witch, not bitch, my love," she grinned. Ready to slap her face, she realized he could not move. Not a single muscle would even twitch at his will. Owena dressed slowly in front of him, almost like a body show. She took care of pulling her stockings up and snapping them to her garters, all the while staring into the young carpenter's eyes and smiling. When she was finished dressing, she withdrew a small vial from a cloth bag that she had been in her skirt. She took just a tiny drop of the brown liquid in it and rubbed it on the carpenter's forehead. He felt strange as the world around him became so much larger than he remembered, and soon he could no longer even see where he was. Owena lifted the now tiny little man and slipped him into the crux of the tree she had been sitting in. You'll make some bird very happy now, my little worm, she whispered to him. Twirling around, she left him there, as for some bird's breakfast. What do you think? Is it gruesome? I hope so. You have a good day. You have a great week. Stay warm. No, not stay warm, sorry. Stay cool. And be kind and gentle with each other and with each ourselves. It's a long day. Take care.